Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. First of all, happy Halloween. And secondly, a big thanks to Sam LaPrade, my colleague over at City News, for filling in for me last week. But I am back, excited to be back, and excited because we start in the kitchen. Perhaps I won't say my favorite place, because then the other guests are going, hey, what about me when we go over to the living room area, Derek? No, but what I do love talking about is food on this show, and I know you love listening. So I am joined by my first guest, Caroline Murphy. She is the chef and co-owner of Corner Peach. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Great
you for
to have you here. Caroline, let's talk a little bit about the history and the inspiration behind Corner Peach.
Sure. So we actually opened the restaurant a year before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
So we had 1 year of kind of like living out our dreams, and then the pandemic hit and we had to make some serious adjustments. So what we ended up doing was having a bottle shop and kind of like a cafe bakery. And that we just kind of slowly added to it day by day, week by week, seeing all the different things that were coming at us during that pandemic.
Right, yeah.
And we were actually able to take over our neighbor's space next door and expand the store. So now the store is a permanent part of our business, and we just reopened the restaurant in March. So we've been doing kind of limited hours to slowly rebuild and get back to where we were before.
So you said living your dream. So where did this dream come from for you and your partner?
Well, we actually went to high school together.
Okay.
And then we worked a lot of different jobs, but a lot of kitchen and restaurants, all jobs in restaurants actually. And we always had that kind of dream in the back of our heads. And there was a point about, I guess, 7 years ago that we were like, we're gonna make this a reality. So
good for you.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
It's a slow process,
and it's a risk that people take becoming entrepreneurs, right?
Anytime.
And you were willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
So what were you doing before then?
So I actually have a degree in journalism from Concordia.
I better watch myself. I could be out of a job by the end of this segment. My goodness. Okay.
I did a lot of work in public relations actually, and I was doing the 9-to-5 office work, and I eventually was just like, I really wanted to try cooking and see if I could do it after having worked as a bartender in a restaurant all through university and stuff like that. So then I moved back to Ottawa and just started working in kitchens all over and tried to do as much as I could, staging kind of in Montreal, in Toronto, all over Canada a little bit, in Europe. And then, when we finally had this opportunity, we jumped on it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned, this innovation. Instead of pivot, I'm going to get rid of the word pivot, because I think, entrepreneurs like yourself are innovative. So during the pandemic, you had to change things up. You sort of stepped away from the restaurant, and you mentioned you opened up this corner store idea. So tell me, what can we find at the corner store? Yeah,
so just a little bit before, what we ended up doing was we have a sourdough bread program that we had since we opened the restaurant.
Okay.
And when you have sourdough, you have to feed what you use as yeast, which is a starter. It's a natural yeast.
Right.
So what we have to feed it every day. It's like an alive product.
Yeah.
So we ended up, there was a yeast shortage. I don't know if you guys remember the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we started giving away the yeast, our sourdough starter, for free. And there was one day that we came in and there was a lineup like all the way around the block for this.
Really?
So then we started with just wine, bread, and the sourdough starter kits. And then we slowly added
great idea.
We slowly added to it for that. So that's kind of how it began. And then we just got in products that we would want to consume, and we'd make things that we wanted to eat. So we do really good like brown butter chocolate chip cookie. We now have expanded to the point where we have a great baking program. We do donuts in the morning, all kinds of different breads and focaccias, and then we have a lot of prepared take-home meals and condiments. Our chili crunch is one of our favorite things.
Here?
Yeah,
the chili crunch.
It's one of our favorite things. It's so good on so many different things.
Really?
Like there's so many applications for it. It's not super spicy. Think like black pepper, but a lot more flavor to
Very
it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you what have you brought along here? Some of the wines, I guess, part of your bottle service you were talking about?
Yeah. So we have on the store, we have a lot of natural wines and just all kinds of like small batch wines that from local to all over Canada to all over the world, really, but stuff that you won't find in the LCBO.
Okay.
I'm not the wine person. That's my business partner, Emma, so you'll have to have her on to do wine.
We can do that.
But we have a great selection of wine, different stuff, more refreshing stuff you can't find at the LCBO.
Well, let's move into the restaurant. What can we find on the menu in the restaurant?
So the restaurant is very much a bistro kind of vibe to it.
Okay.
So very kind of approachable, simple food. We work really closely with farmers all summer and as far into the winter as we can.
Right.
So we have a menu that changes very often, but it's kind of has this simple formula of just bistro-y, simple, approachable stuff.
What have you brought with you here today? Talk to me about these items.
Yeah, perfect. So we always do a few raw dishes because that's really what we like.
Okay.
And I like to start my meal that way. So we always have a beef tartare on the menu.
Oh, I love beef.
And we serve it with French fries.
Nice.
And then this is our other crudo that we have on right now. So we have, it's a shrimp crudo. We use these really beautiful Argentinian shrimp that are already pink when they're raw. And they're just so fragrant and sweet. And then we topped it with a little mignonette made with cranberry and orange.
Nice.
There's shallots, so it's like salty, acidic, a little bit sweet, but nice and bright from the cranberries. And then we basically douse it in our chili crunch. So yeah, again, the chili crunch is, we cook a whole bunch of alliums, shallots, garlics, so that they get nice and crispy. And you leave that in, and then we add soy nuts, and a whole bunch of different spices, chilies, Szechuan peppercorn. So it has like a lot
So
of
you're
rich
kind of doing
flavor.
like a ceviche sort of thing with the shrimp, am I right? Okay.
And I try to keep the same similar dish, but I'll kind of update it as per the season. So when we started, we used currants in the mignonette, and then we finished it with radishes. With this one, so we were moving into cranberries because obviously we can't get fresh currants anymore, and it's apple season. So to finish it, we just put a few really thin slices of apple on top because it's apple season.
Nice. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
and look at you using the most dangerous item in any kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
With
You got to
no
be
fear.
careful
I love
for
it.
sure. So we'll just put a few apples on top.
Tell me
just
about
for a
the
little
other
bit of
dish
texture.
beside you here.
Yeah, perfect. So then this is our tartine. So we always do like a really nice toast because we have this beautiful sourdough.
Yeah, of course.
And there's nothing like a crunchy sourdough toast. So this one, since it's again like the season for beets, we have our beet tartine. On the bottom, we have a mix of goat cheese and ricotta that's been whipped up.
Beautiful.
With a few little extras. And then we have some really nice spicy sopressata, nice and fatty and like pretty spicy. And then we have our braised beets on top. So we braise them in a mix of vinegar and spices for the top. So they're nice and tender. And then I don't know if you want to help.
Sure, I can help. What do you need?
So we finish the beets with this, it's just like salt and pepper honey. So if you want to do like a little drizzle.
I can drizzle
all
absolutely.
over the top.
While I'm doing this, before I got 30 seconds left, tell everybody where you're located. Online reservations are available as well, right?
Yeah, sure. So we're at the corner of Somerset and Booth. So it's 802 Somerset Street West. The restaurant is open Thursday to Saturday from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
We're just going to finish with a little bit of rosemary too. Just a little bit.
Am I allowed to taste test this during the break?
Please do.
I don't know if I should tackle the open face sandwich. Things
I haven't
could get
eaten
messy.
lunch yet, so.
Caroline, really appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.